What's up, friends? Welcome to the What is Truth podcast. I'm joined by a friend of the Apollo Detectives. He's Dr. Rasaviharri. We've done several shows. If you enjoy this content and if you enjoy this conversation, I encourage you to go back to the back catalog and check out all our conversations. Our last show we did was only a few weeks ago, and you will only find that conversation on Rumble and Odyssey. As it was a bit too spicy. It was Hitler a Nazi or a patsy is the title of that show. For anyone that may have missed it and is interested, definitely go check it out on Rumble and Odyssey. Today we're going to be doing Smoking Guns Part 2. In the description I put Smoking Guns Part 1. If you missed it, fully edited by Mr. Bob Williams. And this should be a banger. How are you, Dr. Raza?
Great. Thanks for having me again. It's been a long time since our first Smoking Guns show.
Yeah. That was the first show you and I did together. That was the very first time we met. And for those interested, the original show was episode number 145. It was about 5 hours long. And it is my second most downloaded show of all time. And yeah, that was, I want to say, a couple years ago at this point in time. But since then, we've done many shows. And every time I get you on, you are a crowd favorite, a crowd pleaser, if you will.
Great. So should we just jump into it? I don't have so much time, so little to do.
Yeah, we can get right into it. So what we are going to be doing, well, maybe you can give us a description of what you plan on doing tonight with Smoking Guns Part 2.
Yeah, so we just totally annihilated MC Toon just a few days ago. And before I jump into presenting Smoking Guns, I want to actually show how I actually defeated this MC Toon. Because MC Toon basically only has two arguments, and he keeps recycling these same arguments again and again. So let me explain again clearly what he's presenting and how it's a false argument. So let me share screen there. Okay. Wait a minute. It's not. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Let me know when you can see that.
Yeah, I got it here. All right, what are we looking at?
So this is the paper which all the NASA apologists used to say the moon landings were real. And this is a scientific article published, I think it's by a university in Colorado. And they have all the math which explains the parabolic curve which the dust was flying through the air in the Apollo missions, or flying through a vacuum supposedly. So if you just look at the number I have outlined here, you can see all the math in the article, and then it says here I outlined is fixed by the frame rate to be 1/29.97 seconds. In other words, the 29.97 seconds, 29.97 frames per second. So this is how they calculate the dust, the parabolic curve of the dust. This proves that it was in a vacuum. And if you can follow my, Wheezy, you can see my mouse here on the picture?
Yes, sir.
All right, so you can see the dust flying off of the back of the rover, right?
Yep. In the Grand Prix.
Yeah, so they drew this, it's imaginary blue dotted line here. And they said the dust is therefore following this parabolic arc, which therefore proves this is vacuum and cannot be a hoax. So you have to take their word for it that the dust is actually following this arc. But if you actually look here at the lower picture, I just do a red line here, which shows the actual arc which the dust is taking. So first of all, they want you to believe that the dust is somehow following this magic blue line that they drew on the picture. And then the second point they want you to believe is that the frame rate is 29.97 frames per second. Okay, so this, and they have all their math based on the assumption of the frame rate. We can calculate the gravity to be 1/6 that of Earth, and this therefore is on the moon, because the frame rate, the rate at which the dirt falls in the video with the frame rate at 29.97 frames per second shows the exact gravitational pull of the moon. This is just based on their assumption. This is just a hearsay. We're telling you that this is the frame rate, and we're telling you the number you need to use to base your math on. Okay, so this is just totally wrong math. It's math based on an assumption. So that's his point number one. Okay, his point number one is that this proves it was on the moon because the math works out. But that whole math is based on a given frame rate. So and then he's accusing me of trust me, bro. Right? He's the one presenting Phil with a trust me, bro frame rate, and then accusing me of being the one, So
Yeah,
anyway,
I think the thing with him, he has a debate style, and there were a couple of times I felt you could have came in. I thought someone with MC Toon, you can't be respectful, you can't be nice. You have to match his assholeness. And so when I watched it a couple of times, if I'm being honest, Dr. Oz, I'm like, why don't you go after him harder? You have to, because otherwise you provided substance, but his theatrics gave it the appearance that he whooped you, if we're being honest. Even though you provided substance and he didn't, it's because of how he maneuvers himself. So when you deal with someone, this is just the way I viewed it anyways, you have to match his assholeness. I felt if I debated MC Toon, I would match his assholeness and take it even further, and I would make him rage quit. He would cry. He at one point he also mentioned how the radiation belts were not that important. They weren't big of a deal. That was a key moment, Dr. Raza, where you should have put your foot on his neck, and you didn't. You let it slide. So I felt there could have been more, if I'm being honest. That's just my critique of it. You just have to match. If he's gonna continue to call you names and use ad hominem attacks, you have to give him back his ad hominem attacks. Being respectful doesn't work with that kind of an asshole of a debater such as MC Toon. That's just my little bit anyways, but there were moments, man. There were moments that you could have seized upon him easily, and I felt they were missed opportunities.
Thanks. Yeah, the way I kind of look at it is my air time on their show is extremely limited. They gave me 10 minutes to present my smoking gun, and then fortunately they gave me 10 more minutes to present a second smoking gun. So, my goal is to my goal is that they might allow me back on their show again in the future, So I'm kind of just being as nice as I can to them, and sitting there for an hour, listening to them insult me for an hour, where I get 20 minutes to present.
And the thing is, I've listened to modern day debates. I listen to them quite a bit. That's how they do their format. So I think next time in 10 minutes, if you have to rehearse it or practice it, get your best points, condense them, and just hit them. Boom. Here we go. I think spending too much time on those particular points right off the bat is not necessary, because later on when you discuss those points, that's when you can get into the smaller details. You see what I'm saying? So you kind of got to hit them. Here's boom, smoking gun number 1, number 2, number 3, boom, drop them all. And then later on, as you discuss them, then you break them down. That's how they do their show. I listen to them when they talk about religious topics, political topics. That's how they do it every time. The first person gives 10-minute spiel, boom, on to the next person, and then you hit it off. I think they were getting a little flustered because you were hitting your topic one point at one point. For right now, this show, this is what we're going to do tonight. For this particular show, that works out perfect. But for a debate, that doesn't work too well. It's not too conducive, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. It's a different style.
Cool. Thanks again for that. So let me jump into his second point. Okay. Let me share screen again. It doesn't work somehow. First time.
Yeah, you just go down to the middle.
Yeah, let me know when you can see that.
I got it. Yeah. It's up. Okay, what are we looking at on the screen right now?
So this is the official document which was released by NASA at the time of the Apollo missions. And it says here that basically what it's saying is, if you're the public and you want to tune in to the Apollo mission, here's the frequencies you need to use to tune in. And so you see a series of frequencies, a series of numbers, a megahertz. And on the right is the downlink, of the left is uplink. So basically, if the link, if it has both a downlink and an uplink, that's kind of like a decoded line. You won't be able to tap into it. But two of the lines are non-decoded. These two, which don't have the uplink, right? So these two were available to the public. So these two are the command module FM and SIVB FM. And what NASA is telling us is that the command module was 2272.5, and SIVB was 2277.5. That's what they told the public. But in reality, they had switched these two numbers. Okay. So what the public, when they thought they were turning into 2272, they were actually tuning into the SIVB. So in that sense, the public would have had no idea what they were actually tuning into. So the SIVB was the unmanned craft which they sent to go orbit the moon, and the command module was in low Earth orbit all the time. So the public would have tuned in to 2272, thinking that that was the command module, when actually it was just the SIVB the whole time. The command module stayed in low Earth orbit the entire time. So again, it's just, trust me, bro, this is the link you should tune into.
Beautiful. So yeah, let's get into detail on your smoking guns. In Smoking Guns Part 1, we went over 12 images and video footage directly from NASA's own website, so it's not like we made these images up. Also footage from their sites showing the hoax in the moon landings. And so you had been working on several other smoking guns, and this is what we're doing tonight, going into detail. When was it, yesterday or the day before, I was trying to have my own debate with AI, ChatGPT, on the moon landings. And it was fun. It was a good little fun exercise because it kept trying to tell me, yeah, I can see why you don't believe it because the pictures look fake, but here's why it was possible. And I kept debating it. I finally got AI to concede on the point that, as far as a reason as to why they would fake it, And it kind of correlates with the show I did last week with Ashley, and I think Ashley was in the live chat earlier. We did a show on Vietnam. Prior to doing the show on Vietnam, I had heard of Vietnam. Obviously, you hear some things about Vietnam. I didn't realize how fucked up Vietnam was. You know, um, how it was started over a completely made up event in the Gulf of Tonkin. Kind of relates to the moon landings, made up events, man made making it. So the Gulf of Tonkin was a completely fabricated episode in which the military said they were attacked by Vietnam, and that's what kicked off the war down there. What we were doing in Vietnam, rooting out communism, complete and utter horse manure. I'm bringing this up because that was one of the things that AI had conceded that was a good point. Yeah, there was a lot of shenanigans going on. Also, presidential assassinations, JFK, RFK, MLK, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton. The list goes on and on and on. So, if you fake the moon landings, that gave the public a distraction from the horrors and atrocities that were going on in Vietnam at this moment in time, from the political assassinations that I just mentioned. A lot of civil unrest was happening. People were getting uneasy with the government. So how about we feed them this fairy tale that man is up in the moon playing golf, jumping around, skipping and hollering. Yay, look, everyone, everything is good, everything is happy. Let's forget about these political assassinations that are taking place at home. Let's forget about the bullshit that we are doing in Vietnam. Yay, look, everyone, we're in the moon and we made it on our first tries with 1960s era technology. And so that right there, Mr. MC Toon, if you are listening by chance, how do you explain that one? Handle that little tidbit. But these guys will claim that it is our job to prove the extraordinary claim made by NASA, not by us, that man landed on the moon at that point in time. So we're going to go through some of the flimsy evidence that NASA has provided and break it down. What tidbit do you want to go through first, Dr. Raza?
Yeah, let me recap a couple of the ones which I had done. Well, let's just start with this short one. This is something I didn't get to play before, but let's just start here, okay? The one that has the audio. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Is it ready?
Ready.
Make sure I got my volume up. All right.
Thieves.
Hey, what's going on, Joe?
I need a good lie.
Oh, okay. How about the whole man walking on the moon thing? You know, you can see the strings, people.
So we are looking at an image where you could see the shiny strings on one of the astronauts.
So he's doing a spin near the flag, and you can see the antenna from his backpack is separate from the string, and the string is going at an angle, right? Let me play that again. Okay, I'll try to pause it just before the string comes. Okay, yeah. Can you see it now, Weezy?
Yeah, I can see it.
So on the right is the antenna, which is sticking straight up, and on the left is the string, which is coming off the corner of the backpack at an angle. Now, this is most of the apologists would say that this is like just a glitch in the the camera film, but not film. It's not a film cam, but just in the digital transmission. There could be cosmic rays which interfere and it causes glitches. But if it was a glitch, then it would be completely vertical. It would be either vertical or completely horizontal. Glitches cannot occur at an angle like that. Okay, so the fact that they happen to catch this, you can see the strings, people. The fact that it's coming off at an angle like that. Let me go to the next. Let me go back a frame or so. You can see. Yeah, you can. Can you see it?
Yeah, I could see it.
Yeah. So this can't be a camera glitch. This is definitely the sun, or the studio lighting has hit the string from his backpack in such a way that it actually caught the glare from the string. All right, so that's just I don't know if this Friends show. I mean, Hollywood shows, I don't know if they would be blowing the whistle or not, but they certainly wouldn't be able to say a line like that without getting permission from somebody. What do you think, Weezy? Do you agree with me? The show Friends, would they have to get permission from somebody to put a line like that in one of their episodes?
Absolutely. Or, I mean, it could have been a way to make a joke out of it, like mock people that question the moon landings. Sometimes people will make jokes like that, so it could have definitely been that way.
Yeah, 'cause especially since, it was Thebes was the one who said it. She's supposedly the dumb blonde. Right?
Yeah, an airhead, so you see what I'm saying? So it could have been in jest. But
Well, anyway, yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. They've been putting out, it comes even back to George Carlin, right? They paid George Carlin to come on that book reading TV show to make fun of moon landing, people who question the moon landings, right?
one of my favorite songs that I didn't know existed up until I want to say a year ago, maybe even recent, is a song by REM, "Man on the Moon." I was going to work and I went to the gasoline station to get me a coffee in the morning, and I heard it on the radio. Like, whoa, they're "Man on the Moon." They're talking about the moon landings being fake. This is a awesome jam, and I thought it was like a new song on the radio. And then no, I'm not an REM fan, so I had no idea. So I Googled it, and then I found out it was an older song from REM from many years ago. And I went down that rabbit hole trying to figure out what REM meant by that jam. And when you do research, all you get is that the song is about this comedian that passed away. It has nothing to do about the moon landing. Like, what are you talking about? The damn song is called "Man on the Moon," and it's talking about faking the moon landings. But all you can dig out on the information is that, oh yeah, it's about a comedian. It's humor. Bullshit. It was definitely a dig on the moon landings, but maybe REM was told you can't go mainstream questioning the moon landing, so you got to change. You got to change the meaning of the song. That's my speculation of it, anyways, because it was interesting how little information on it I could find.
Yeah, and also Jim Carrey made several things because he was, that the comedian who died, he was Jim Carrey's hero, sort of. So Jim Carrey also made that movie about the.
I can't remember that comedian's name. Someone in the live chat, who's the comedian that Man on the Moon is talking about? And I can't remember it off the top of my head. But yeah.
Anyway, so let me jump into the next smoking gun. Something which I didn't get to present before.
Andy Kaufman. Sorry.
Andy Kaufman, right.
Andy Kaufman. Thank you, Packy Man. All right, go ahead. What was the smoking gun?
All right. Let me share screen again. Okay, let me know when you see it.
It's up.
All right, can you actually see the bottom of it?
It says
the words on
yeah, Figure 2 Surveyor 3 television camera as it was unbagged at the LRL after its return from the moon.
Return from the moon, right? So this came from the NASA document that they're saying this is the camera. Okay, so on Apollo 12, the astronauts supposedly visited the Surveyor 3 craft, and then he had a pair of wire cutters, or how do you say, box cutters? Cable cutters. He had a pair of super sharp cable cutters, and he could snap the camera off of the Surveyor 3 craft and bring it back to Earth. And then on the moon, they supposedly put it in a bag, and then they brought it back to Earth. And this is the only remaining photo of the camera after it was taken out of the bag as soon as getting back to Earth. So, and it's just such a crummy photo. Look at how pixelated it is. Okay. But this is the only photo. You would think, that bringing a television camera back from the moon, you would have a good quality picture of it before you actually destroyed the camera. But they don't. They only have one actual image of the camera after it was immediately taken out of the bag, and it's just this pixelated garbage. But
Dr. Raza, this little bit of information comes off like a lot of, trust me, bro, this was the TV camera that we had. Trust me. Well,
here's
the image.
Right. But regardless of what they say, we can catch them, because if we actually compare it so on the left is the image from Apollo 12, okay? And from that image, this is supposedly the camera just before he took the wire cutters and clipped the camera off, okay? And if you look here where this cable is connected to the top of the camera, there's like aluminum foil wrapped around it. You can see that, Weezy?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, now look at the aluminum foil. It starts here, and then it goes there, up here at the top is a standoff, and so it starts from the bottom of the standoff, and then it comes down to about right here. But if you look at the other image, okay, this is the official one. It's totally different. The aluminum foil is not all the way up to. This is the standoff here, the red one. And you can see the aluminum foil doesn't start until here, where you can see I drew the blue arrow. Okay, can you see that, Weezy? The aluminum foil is different. You see? Let's look back here. On the Apollo 12 image, the aluminum foil starts here at the standoff, goes to here, and then it stops. Whereas if you come back here, there is no aluminum foil up here, and then it starts below, and then it goes much further down. So we already busted them. The camera, which they claim to be right out of the bag, is a different camera that they took of it just before they put it into the bag.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So on the picture that looks like a real object with, the foiling goes from the top of the head part of the camera upwards, and on the diagram on the picture, the thicker part goes below the head part.
Right. You can see from this line below the. Okay, so this is the lens. You can see my mouse, right? The mouse is moving on the lens. Yes. So just below the lens is this line where the camera can rotate. Yes. So come back to the other picture. On the other picture, here's the lens. Here's the line below the lens, and look how far down the aluminum foil goes. Way below that line. Yes. And over here on the other image, it stops right at the line.
Right at the line. Yeah.
It's totally different. It's a totally different aluminum foil wrap. And this aluminum foil wrap goes all the way up to the. See, what happened is there's more to this story. They tried to do a damage control, so they published this image. And I don't know where this image came from, but on this image they had to tried to match it. They had manipulated the aluminum foil so that this one is matching that one. These two, they're matching, but this is a different image. So they released this image as a damage control, because if you go back to the original image, this is the one which came from the bag, and that one has a different aluminum foil wrapping.
I see. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts? So if there's a movie called Operation Avalanche, and
That's
you
the
can
one
find
where
it on
yeah.
you can find it on YouTube, and you can watch it for free with the ads. It sucks you have to watch the ads, but you get a free movie on YouTube. So if anyone's interested, Operation Avalanche, it's a movie based on what would be required to fake the moon landing. So it's a rather interesting thing. Have you seen that, Dr. Raza, that movie?
Yeah, I don't really recommend that movie because it's part of a psyop. They have many different psyops regarding the moon landings, and one of the psyops they created was, well, we went and we orbited the moon, but we weren't able to actually land. That's the theme that they're pushing in that movie, which is a total psyop that never happened. They could not orbit the moon at all. So they're trying to. It's like kind of a flat Earth thing. They created flat Earth in order to discredit people who really analyze the moon landings. And in the same way, they created that movie in order to confuse people about the theory about whether they could actually orbit or not, or whether they could only land.
That's what that newer movie also with Channing Tatum proposes as well. Take Me to the Moon. That they made it allegedly, but they had to fake the footage because they got destroyed or whatever. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just more nonsense. And even people like Joe Rogan kind of push that these days. He went from questioning all the moon landings to now, yeah, maybe they did make it, but they had to fake some of the footage, and it's an excuse, and I agree. It's definitely a psyop.
Cool. Can I share screen again?
Yeah, anytime.
All right. Okay. So this is the bounce. Let me know when you can see that.
It's on the screen.
Yeah. So this is the Surveyor 3 bounce that landing sequence. Supposedly the Surveyor 3 came in and it kind of bounced 1, 2, 3. And it says the first bounce was 15 to 22 meters, and the second bounce was 11 to 14 meters. And then it has some smaller bounces after that. And they can calculate that. I have no reason to doubt that, actually. I mean, they can calculate based on the telemetry data of where it actually hit and where it finally came to resting place. But the thing is this, if you look at the actual footprints, this is the footprint supposedly taken by Apollo 12. If you look at where it bounced, it would first bounce here in the middle, and then the second bounce came sort of on top of that, but at a flat angle. And then it finally came to a resting place, number 3, on the left. So that's not possible, according to any laws of physics, because if a ship were moving at a slight momentum in one direction, it's going to keep moving in that direction. It's not going to hop backwards, So, and not only that, so this footprint number 3 being there behind it is totally wrong. And this other footprint here, which is at an angle, this would be practically impossible for a footprint at this angle to hit the ground at this angle. This is like they just used a stage prop to put this initial footprint in, and they put it in at the wrong angle, and then they stepped on top of it with the footpad again to create this one. And then they put the final resting place here. So this is totally nonsense, this landing sequence, you know, first footprint, second footprint, third footprint. This is total nonsense, you know. Any thoughts on that, Weezy?
Where is this image from? What, in case anyone wants to look at it? What?
This is the Apollo 12. Just when the two astronauts came walking up to the Surveyor 3 craft, they had taken a series of photos as they're getting closer to the Surveyor 3. And when they finally get up to it, they were close enough to see these footprints. And he took 2 images of the footprints that look like that. And then he stuck his boot in there and he messed up the footprints because maybe he thought they were kind of wrong himself. So he put his boot there and moved dirt into the Surveyor 3 footprints to kind of hide the fact that this would have been impossible for this leg to make that angle of an impression.
Yeah, that leg, that limb had apparently a whole, I don't know, a foot. It's weird. Yeah, it makes no sense. It doesn't look like anything that design would do at all.
So let me present another one which I haven't presented before, since we're on the trend of presenting new smoking guns. Give me a second to share screen, okay?
Yeah, no problem. Just a reminder, everyone, if you missed Smoking Guns Part 1, it is in the link of this description wherever you may be listening to this. The wonderful Bob Williams edited it and shortened it to 1 hour because the original show was episode number 145, and that was like 5 hours. So if you want the condensed version with all the smoking guns, check the link at the bottom of the description here, and you can watch the entire presentation.
Cool. I'm sharing screen. Okay.
Up on the screen. It's up.
Yeah. So this is supposedly taken on the moon, and they call this the Sunstruck picture because this was supposedly, I think, the first image that had been taken when the camera supposedly had a fresh roll of film put in. And so when you put in a fresh roll of film, the first few images might be sunstruck. Okay, so, but what happened was he was taking a photo of this astronaut jumping into the rover, right? So there's 3 images. Image number 1, image number 2, and image number 3. So these 3 images are all in a row, and supposedly, like, the camera, he could snap these 3 images really quickly within one jump. So you can see that the astronaut is in the air here, and the astronaut's still kind of in the air here. And the astronaut lands in the rover here. So this would, of course, been impossible with the camera to snap 3 images in one jump, right? So then the apologists will say, well, there was 2 jumps, because you can see in his right hand, he's holding this little scooper thing. And then in the next image, he's got the scooper thing in his left hand. So that couldn't have been the same jump. He had to have jumped twice, right? So that would be the official. So that would be the official story, is that these are 2 different jumps. But now I'm going to play you the audio clip. And the audio clip shows that there was only one jump. And he says, I got 3 of them that time. It means he snapped 3 images during one jump. There's not enough time elapsed for 2 different jumps to take place. So let me try to play that audio clip. Give me a second to share screen again. All right. So here's the. Let me know
Up
when you
on the
can see
screen.
that. Yep. So hopefully you can hear this. If you don't hear anything, let me know. Okay.
Bob, you got all your TG readings? Roger, we got that. We'd like to have you climb on.
We'd like to have you climb on. Okay.
Get ready.
Get ready to jump on the rover.
Roger,
Let's
the crew.
jump on the rover because we got to drive to the
Okay,
next.
Jack, let's,
Now we lose the video at this point.
How convenient.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there is any subfloor in here.
So they're just doing
The
some
rocks
blah
are
blah
so
blah
dust covered that
talking.
it's hard to be sure, but no rock I picked up looked like subfloor. Get on there one time.
Get on. Okay, let me pause it. He said, "Get on there one time," which means jump on the rover, and he's gonna snap pictures. He says, "Get on there one time, make the jump, and I'll snap pictures while you jump." And then you have to be careful of how much time elapses from this point. So I'm playing audio again. 7, 8.
Ready?
Ready. Boom. You could hear. I'm pausing it again. Okay. He says, "Ready," and then you hear boom, where that may be the sound of his jump. Okay. Now let's keep listening.
I got 3 of them that time.
I got 3 of them that time. He's talking about the images. I got 3 photos during that one jump. Okay.
That Raza with the video not working and it's all blacked out. That sounds like a trust me, bro. I got 3 of them that time. Trust me, bro.
Yeah. And so I think what happened was they had made the video and audio recordings at a previous date, and then later they tried to make the Hasselblad images match the previous recordings. And so when they had made this previous recording, he's talking about, I got 3 images that time. So then they had to come back to the Hasselblad images, and they had to get 3 images in a row for their Hasselblad cameras. All right, so let me share screen one more time the Hasselblad images, because it's very clear that from the recording you can hear that there was one jump. He's like, "Ready?" He's like, "Get on there one time," and then "Ready? I'm gonna jump," and then he jumps, and then I got 3 of that time, and only a few seconds elapse between when he says "Ready, jump," and when he says I got 3 of them that time. There's not enough time for 2 different jumps, but the Hasselblad images are clearly showing it has to be 2 jumps. Okay, let me share screen again.
On
Can
the
you see?
screen.
Right. So if you come back to the Hasselblad image rolls, this is the first image on the roll, and it's like 1, 2, 3. Within just a few seconds, he took 3 images. Right. The audio clearly states, I got 3 of them that time. 3 images. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. It cannot be. There was not enough time for 2 jumps, but the images themselves show that there's 2 jumps. Right. The scooper thing is in different hand that time.
Different hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good catch. Damn good catch. I want to address this comment real quick. Let's see. Normal Man says, I wish someone would do a thorough analysis of the images that were photoshopped in 2009, comparing the originals with the later versions of the images, how NASA covered up the hoax. Normal Man, Dr. Raza and I did do that in Smoking Guns Part 1, bro. If you look at the description of this video, I put the link to Smoking Guns Part 1. We did that there. So You may have missed it, but there you go. So it has already been done.
But let me comment on that point. Actually, what needs to be done is we need to get a court approved Photoshop forensics analysis software. So in a court of law, they have this forensic analysis software in case you want to prove that somebody is stealing your image. So in a court of law, they have this forensic analysis to see whether one image is a copy of the other. That forensic analysis software, if we could, it's quite expensive, okay, to get a court-approved forensic analysis software. But if we had that, we could compare the original images to the modern-day Photoshopped images, and we could prove in a court of law that they actually Photoshopped those images. But I don't have that forensic software, and all the free forensic software you can find on the internet is like garbage. I've been trying to use it. It doesn't work. But if we had a real forensic software, the kind that cost a lot of money, then we could prove even in the court of law that they Photoshopped the images.
Tempo. All right.
Okay, give me a second to find up the next point.
I'll give you 2. How's that? Hope everyone's enjoying this. Just a reminder that after this show at 10 p.m. Eastern, we will have a UFC fight commentary. It'll be myself, Corey Hughes, Steve Poikonen, and Mr. Drew Treglia. He is the director of Jones Plantation. He's going to be on, and we may have another special guest. So, and just a reminder, that will only be on Rumble. So if you listen to this later on and you didn't see the video come up or the podcast come up, it's only on Rumble. And another reminder, we get wild as hell. So if I'm already too wild for you as it is, and that's just your limit, you may not want to catch those UFC fight nights because I go super wild. Just when you thought I couldn't go wilder, we do a UFC commentary. So just a reminder for those interested. All right. We've got what else you got for us, my man?
Sharing screen.
Tempo. All right. It's up on there we go. It's on the screen now.
All right. So on the left, again, we're coming back to Apollo 12. There's an image where there's 2 images. One where they're standing at the ship looking towards the Surveyor 3, and the one of when they're standing near the Surveyor 3 and they're looking back towards the ship. Now, the ship is supposedly on the opposite side of a crater. And that crater is 200 meters wide around the rim, So we can give the acclaimed distance between the Apollo craft and the Surveyor craft is around about 200 meters, a little bit less. It might have been slightly closer, but more or less 200 meters. That's what they claim. Okay. Now, if you look here on the picture on the right, this is showing approximately how far. There's a picture of a buffalo. There's a woman standing in the field, and it's giving you advice. You should stay
like
100 yards.
Point. Yeah.
Right, 100 yards to stay away from this buffalo. So 100 yards. 200. So now you come back here to this image. This ship is supposedly 200 meters away.
Yeah.
At 200 meters is 218 yards, but this buffalo is only 100 yards away. Okay.
Yeah. So here's another way to look for people to digest this. A football field is 100 yards long. Now, if we're talking about 200 yards, we're talking about 2 football fields. That's pretty goddamn far. And so
Yeah.
we're being told in the middle image that the Surveyor 3 is 200 yards away from
200
this other
meters,
image.
218 yards, 218 yards.
And based on those images, it looks like it's probably 40 yards away, max.
Yep.
It doesn't look anywhere near the 200 yards that we are being
Right.
told is on the photos. That's interesting. Yeah.
Now look at here's another comparison. This is if you're standing at the edge of a street and you're looking down the end to the end of the street, this is 100 yards, right?
Right.
And that ship, I could say maybe, you said about
Maybe
40.
100.
Yeah, maybe, but
Not 200. No way,
definitely.
not 200 at all. I mean, and if you say 100, that would be like super. You're being super liberal with the numbers. You know what I mean?
Right. All right, let's go to the next one. So again, this is an elk, I guess. 25 yards to that elk, 100 yards to that elk, way back over there.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go to the next one. Let's look at 200 yards.
Yep.
This is a firing range, right? So this is what the craft is supposed to be, 200 yards away, which is nowhere even close to that, right?
Charlie Kirk stuff right here.
So let me zoom in. Let me zoom in on this, okay? You can see there's a target on the edge of this cliff. That's 200 yards to that target, right? All right, let's go. Here's another firing range. You can see the hill back here is 200 yards away, and this is looking through the scope. So that's a 200-yard firing range. Now, this is supposed to be 3 kilometers. This ship is supposed to be 3 kilometers. That's okay. 3,100 meters, more than 3 kilometers. The official
3,000 yards away.
3,100 meters. Okay. This is what NASA claims. This is from so this ship, they're claiming I would give that maximum 200 yards.
Yeah. I was gonna say
I would give that
that right there looks like 200 yards.
Yeah, this is not 3.1 kilometers away. No way. If you think that's 3.1 kilometers away, I don't know. You must be. So then they okay. So they're saying you can even read. This is directly from the NASA webpage. They say, well, you can see from this from the crosshairs on the lens that, and we know this is distance to be that. It's a 500 millimeter lens, and the LEM is 7 meters tall, and we can calculate that this really is 3 kilometers away based on the height of the they have all of this technical nonsense.
Yeah.
But this is like not 3 kilometers away. This is maximum. See, if you just look at me zoom, okay? Here's the craft. I'm zooming in. There it is, right? Let's go back to 200 yards. Let's go back to our 200 yards.
Yeah.
You can see the target on the cliff, right?
Yeah.
The target on the cliff is approximately the same height as the LEM, about 7 meters.
And this to me is definite proof of a hoax, because why would you lie about the numbers and distances? Because you have a smaller set and you can't display something that far away in your small set. So you have to make up numbers that clearly don't correlate, with the images that we're seeing.
So their first set they used for Apollo 12 was like maximum 100 meters. And the second set they used for Apollo 17 was maximum 200 meters,
Yeah, what Digital Dust says here, they used a lot of forced perspective in the shots. Spot on. Yeah, that's definitely a smoking gun right there, because if you're trying to tell me those first few images were 200 yards when at max they were 40 yards, that's nonsense. And then you're telling me this other shot was 3 kilometers away, 3,000 meters away. and that looked like 200 yards. Yeah, it's just not adding up at all.
Mhm. So should I go to the next point? Any other questions or
No,
coming in?
let's go to the next one.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Okay,
pull it
while
up.
you set that up, also reminder tomorrow Sunday 2 p.m. Eastern and 7 o'clock UK time. I got John Brissom coming on, and we're gonna be discussing the Trump Epstein stuff. A lot of juicy stuff came out the last few days. If you follow me on X, I've been making quite a few jokes. Some of you may have understood, and that's all from the emails that came out. So John Brissom will join me tomorrow, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK on Rumble and Odyssey. And I may do that on YouTube as well. We'll see. But just thought I'd throw it in while Dr. Raza gets up the next share screen. Also, if you want to stay on top of the shows, join our Telegram group. It's the Telegram /Wit Wheezy, WITWEEZY. And you will stay abreast of the next show and times. And you can also share some memes if you are so inclined. All right, I'm ready when you are, Dr. Raza.
Give me 1 more second. I lost one of my folders here. It's kind of setback.
No worries. What is that, a doorbell? That's
No, it's a school bell.
a school bell. Okay. I thought it almost sounds like, oh, say, can you see? And I'm like, damn, Dr. Raza's getting patriotic over there.
Yeah.
Info.
So I'm just gonna recap on the some of the things I presented in the debate there with MC2. Oops. Wait a minute.
Did you have any other or more smoking guns, Dr. Raza?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I got you. It's on the screen. What are we looking at?
Yeah. So this is the footpad on the Surveyor 3 craft, and so the official story. This I have no reason to doubt. I think that they could send unmanned crafts to the moon. And this is actual photos of that actual unmanned craft. And they had scooped up some dirt with their scooper and then dropped that dirt onto the footpad. And the camera there could take photos of that dirt. So you can see the first scoop here, I'll say scoop full of dirt. This first scoopful of dirt landed here, just near the hinge. Then they went ahead and dumped many scoopfuls of dirt, and they covered basically half of the footpad. You can see from the tip of the footpad all the way down here, they put many scoopfuls of dirt here. And then they came in with their little scooper, and they took the tip of the scooper and they put it down to the tip of the footpad, and they scraped away some of the dirt, and it left a white spot here. So you can see they had scraped away all the dirt on that certain part of the footpad. Okay, so this is the reference source material, came from this document. And this is coming back to the footprint. Excuse me. Coming back to the footprint, you know, this this is the footprint that doesn't match at all. And if you look here, zooming in on the where they had pushed the dirt away. So the scraper had pushed away this area here, okay? And it's white where they pushed away all the dirt. And coming back, this is another image of it where you can see where they had pushed away the dirt. Here's a third image. You can see where the scraper was approximately this big, the tip of it when it scraped away. And finally, the last image, you can see where the scraper had pushed away. So, and there's like kind of a little mound around it where it had. So we're very fortunate to find these 4 images. There's only 4 images, 1, 2, 3, 4, of the final resting place. So this is what it should have looked like when the Apollo 12 astronauts walked there and visited this Surveyor 3. All right, so let's come back here to the Apollo images. You can see it's totally different. It's a totally different. They had tried to emulate it a little bit, but like that's not the way it should have been. It should have been white down in here and then dirt over here, just way out on the edge. But that's not what we're seeing here. So let's share a few more of these. You can see they kind of moving around it. You can see the dirt is here in the middle of this like kind of semicircle. They had kind of like scooped it off and then put some other little clods here, dirt clods in the middle of this semicircle. It's totally different from the actual. Again, you can see it's like a little circle they had made, and then they put a couple little clops of dirt in here to fill it in. It's totally different from the Surveyor 3. Yeah, here's from the other side. It's even more obvious, you know. But they purposely left the camera out of focus here. But you can see it's not even, there would have been more dirt. They had covered half of it. So there would have been more dirt over here. And there would have been more dirt up here. And then there would have been dirt kind of along the rim there. So doesn't match at all. You see? It doesn't even have the rim back here. So anyway, you can explore these on your own in higher resolution. But I'm just showing you, like, this is the way it should have been, because this is the actual Surveyor 3 craft. And there was kind of a dirt on all 4 sides around where the scooper had pushed off the dirt. And you can see the white spot, how wide the little scoop mark was. And then coming back here to the Apollo missions, it doesn't look anything like that at all. It doesn't. It kind of looks a little bit alike, but it's like there should have been dirt here on the rim, and then this white part in the middle here should have been white. So it's totally different. You got any? What do you think, Weezy?
Yeah, the whole crater things is something that intrigues me and cracks me up quite a bit, because NASA apologists will make every excuse in the book for, yeah, that looks like a real crater. I'm not a scientist. I'm not educated. I'm just a garbage man. But I look at some of these images and they try to tell me, yeah, that's a crater that should have been done by an engine with X amount of thrust, thousands of pounds of thrust, to lift off. And you see a tiny little, mound, dust or dirt uninterrupted. And they say it with a straight face. Yeah, a huge rocket engine was able to lift off and it didn't move anything about. It makes no sense. I don't use any mathematics. I just look at it and it doesn't add up. And even those images that you showed me, yeah, they clearly look like they've been tampered with. And it just looks so fake, so cheesy and fake.
Yeah, can I show that image?
Yeah, here we go. It's on the screen right now.
So this is the Chinese Mars lander. And you can see there's a big hole under the ship, the blast crater. Can you see that, Weezy?
Yep.
Because when the ship is coming in for landing, there's the main engine is on, the same as in the Apollo missions. So the main, if the Apollo missions really, it would be so much bigger, because the Apollo mission was so much bigger than this tiny little Chinese craft, you know.
Yeah. What
So
was
it
the Apollo mission engines? How many thousands of pounds of
so
thrust?
it was
Like
they
10,000, wasn't
supposedly,
it?
yeah, no, 1,080 pounds of thrust after they had throttled it down. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was 10,000 at full thrust and 1,080 after throttled. They could only throttle it down to 10%. So 10% is 1,080 pounds of thrust. So it would have left a huge crater, and especially just feet above the surface. And in some you can go in point by point, how many mission by mission, how many feet above the surface they were when the engine shut down. The engine was shut to zero, and it was just each mission was different. Some of them were just a few feet above the surface, and some of them, I think one of them, they even shut it down after touchdown. And then another mission, they had shut it down early, so it supposedly landed harder. But anyway, if it was just a few feet above the surface, it would have left a huge crater, much bigger than this, you know, because
Yeah.
it's just blasting straight into the rock, and this is just not a tiny fraction of that. And even NASA document itself. This is the NASA Mars mission, and you can see this had multiple engines, and each engine left its own blast crater, right? And this is just a tiny little craft. It had
Yeah.
multiple engines. So even with multiple engines, the thrust is not concentrated into one point. So on the Apollo missions, there was just one engine. So all the thrust was concentrated on one point. Like the Chinese one, it would have dug way down into the surface. And even on the Mars missions, they had multiple engines. It left this huge blast crater under each engine, you know, and we see nothing like that on the Apollo missions.
Yeah. Missy with the great comment. My dog digs bigger holes. Yeah. Not impressed. But if we view it that way, if we're not impressed, then we are the crazy ones. We are the conspiracy theorists. And we should be locked up in a loony bin because we don't believe the official stories. Yeah, it's pretty comical.
Let me try to share screen again.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird when I try to share screen. Your browser has blocked your screen. So weird. It's telling me my browser has blocked me from screen sharing.
Just close it down and try it again.
Close what? There's nothing to close. Okay. Great. Okay, and I can also do audio here. All right. All right, let me know when you can see that.
I got it. It's up on the screen.
Right. So this is the just to be clear, this is the coming from the Spacecraft Films DVD. And if you watch American Moon movie, they make a big deal out of this. You can only trust Spacecraft Films DVD because that is the original unedited version, right? And then you can even prove that NASA edited it, because if you go to their YouTube page today, the official NASA YouTube page, Apollo Surface Journal. You can download the clipped. So they had to actually, you can see that it's been clipped. The part on the right hand side of the screen where you can see the flag waving very clearly has been clipped on the new and improved Apollo webpage. So anyway, I'm going to play the Spacecraft Films DVD because that's the original unclipped version. And you can see, I'm playing it now. So if you watch the right-hand top corner, you see the flag blowing on to the set, right? You can see it moving, yes?
Yeah.
And then it
it
blows off. It blew off the stage now.
Yeah.
It's going to blow on again. You can see
it comes back. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of waving there.
Still there.
Yeah. And it's going to get ready to blow off again.
Okay, Houston, two-ticket relief is now in order. Okay, thank you.
So they say this is outgassing, where the ship somehow outgasses, and that gas can pass. There it goes. It blows off. They're saying that the ship somehow outgassed, and that gas would blow it off, but then it wouldn't come back down again like it's doing.
Sounds like Donald Trump and Bill Clinton.
And then it blows finally one more time. So it's kind of I'll play that again. It kind of, it's there, it blows off, and then it blows back on big time, and then it blows back really quickly. So this is definitely not the official excuse. Is that.
Yeah, what's the official excuse for that?
The official excuse is that the ship would outgas, and that would blow the flag away, and gravity would pull the flag back down. But that cannot be true, because because that would mean the original resting place is down, then it gets blown away, and then gravity pulls it down. It gets blown away, and gravity pulls it down. That would mean the original resting place is down, but it's not, because there's 16 minutes of video where it's not in the original resting place. So that whole excuse is debunked. They debunked themselves by presenting such a lame excuse. There is no excuse. There's no way that this could just blow onto the stage without some external source of wind. It's impossible. There's no other way. And MC Toon was left speechless. He's like, "Well, you can't put a fan on a studio set."
Yeah, see that's he zoomed in on that little thing, like prove it that they had a fan on the studio. What studio does it? Like that's his style. He zooms in, and so that's where I would have, I suppose, would have hammered it. Give me a plausible excuse for that. Why does the flag disappear? And you gotta stay firm on it, because he'll distract you with all this other bullshit. There's a fan in the studio. What studio uses a fan? Blah blah blah. They wouldn't have done it. He zooms in to distract you because he
has no evidence.
He has no answer.
He has no answer. He has no answer
Exactly.
at all. He can only just attack. That's all he can do.
Yeah.
Who are you to say blah 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 blah?
But see, that's what I mean. Like, as a note for next time, you got to bring it back. He'll try to derail the conversation using that sleazy little tactic. You got to bring him back. Wait a minute. Hold up. Come back. You tell me. Give me a plausible reason why this goddamn flag disappears and comes back. Because the reason you have given me does not make any goddamn sense, Mr. Toon. And that's the approach that I would have taken. You know what I'm saying? You got to bring him back. Bring him back. He'll try to take it in a whole million different directions. You got to bring his ass back.
Right. But he's given no reason at all. He's given no reason at all.
You got to showcase it. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to showcase it and put his ass on blast right there and then in front of his audience, in front of everyone else. This is what I was telling you at the very beginning. You gotta fight fire with fire. And he's using these dirty tactics. He's being an asshole. He's using ad hominems. You got to play his same game. Otherwise, his little theatrics will appear to have won the day, even though this point that you presented is a completely valid point. They have no good reason for this flag waving. It's completely valid, but he'll distract you with his little antics and theatrics. That's all I'm trying to say.
Right. My point of it is like this. You know, there's a saying in English: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Right. So for the people who are watching the videos, these debates, if they're persuaded by MC Toon's antics, then that's just the horse who's refusing to drink. You know, all I'm doing is just providing evidence, and I could actually care less who gives, you know, whoever does the backup research. You know, I'm giving you the reference numbers. Go look it up yourself. You know, I've already led the horse to the water, you know, so that's the way I look at it. I'm not going to waste 1 minute of time trying to force a horse to drink who's refusing to drink.
Yeah. And I suppose at the end of the day, everyone has their own style, and
I wish I was better, you know, at throwing in these ad hominems and stuff, but you know.
I think I would make him rage quit.
I'll try to ask it if there is a next time. If they ever allow me back on the show, I'll try to say if I can ask my friend Weezy to come.
I would make him rage quit. I've thought about reaching out to him. I'll bring him onto my show and see if he'll do it. You just got to match someone's energy, man. Especially those type of debaters. He's not an honest agent. He does little sneak things, but once you study someone, once you see their antics, it's really not that hard. But yeah, he did that with you. He did that with Marcus Allen as well. Marcus Allen did reprimand him and said, "Hey, cut that shit out." You know, but yeah, I mean, I want to stress, and this is something that I feel doesn't get hammered by people like us that question the moon landings enough. You know, I brought it up a couple times on the Apollo Detectives, and it was my own little thought, my own little thinking, but I don't want to trademark it or have it be mine. I want people to take it and use it with their friends and use it with everyone else. And this is my own little quote that I want to keep saying it so that others can use it and use it with their, you know, when they engage with people that believe in the moon landings. NASA is the one that made the extraordinary claim that man landed on the moon. The evidence to support this extraordinary claim is flimsier than the lunar lander itself. And that's my little original quote. That's my little thing. But the point is, it's not up to us to prove that the moon landings were fake. We're simply asking for them to prove a positive. Because the evidence that they have presented, whether it's the photos, which can be faked, whether it's the moon rocks, which can be collected in Antarctica, and actually some of the moon rocks have been found out to be petrified wood. So that's not good evidence. Then the telemetry data, oh, they lost it. They lost the original telemetry data. So the evidence that they have provided is far from extraordinary. But the claim that man landed on the moon with 1960s era tech is 100% an extraordinary claim. And you can't let them try to wiggle their way out of that. We got to keep hammering that. I think that's the line we got to take, and we got to be hardcore. It's not up to us to prove that their fantasy, that their NASA myth is fake. It's not our goddamn job. It's your job to prove that we made it to the moon, because the evidence presented is far from extraordinary. And so that's just my little spiel, man. And that's the spiel I would give MC Toon.
The only thing I can say in MC Toon's credit is that he's avoiding the two main subjects, the two main excuses, which most apologists like to say is that one, if it was a hoax, the Russians would have blown the whistle, and two, it couldn't have been a hoax because there was 400,000 employees at NASA, and somebody would have blown the whistle by then. So
and those are both garbage. Yeah, but those reasons are garbage, and they can easily be thrown away. As far as the amount of people working on it, that's a cartoonish way to look at a conspiracy. A lot of these conspiracies, cover-ups, are compartmentalized, meaning someone could be actively working on a cover-up or a conspiracy and not even realize it. For example, making the suits, making the astronaut boots. You're making real boots, so you think you're actually helping astronauts make it to the moon, but it's all a ruse. It's all bullshit. It's not real. And then as far as the Russians would have talked, my favorite go-to answer to that or rebuttal to that is Dmitry Rogozin, the Russian cosmonaut that has called out the NASA moon landings, in which when you Google Dmitry Rogozin, all you'll find out are ad hominem attacks on him. Oh, well, he's a quack. Oh, well, he's a loon. Who cares what he said? That, ladies and gentlemen, is called moving the goalpost. Because you said that the Russians would have talked. Here we have a top Russian cosmonaut that has indeed talked. But now you're throwing ad hominems. Oh, well, his opinion doesn't matter. That is called moving the goddamn goalposts. So those two arguments are easily debunkable. And then as far as the amount of people working on it, people forget that the Manhattan Project had 130,000 people working on it. And people kept that under wraps. So there is precedence for large scale operations to be kept quiet. And so, yeah, both of those arguments would be completely destroyed, in my opinion, if you try to engage with them.
Right. So that's why he was specifically avoiding those arguments with me, because he knows I would just chew him up and spit him out in no time. And he wouldn't even want to get me started on the whole Russia issue, because then I would love to get an opportunity to talk about how the entire Cold War is a hoax, from Vietnam to the whole thing was. So if they tried to play the Russians would have blown the whistle card on me, I would have loved for them to try to play that card on me.
Yeah, and then that all, this is the thing that I brought up to the AI when I was having my little mini debate. Because the AI was trying to say, "Oh, well, are you saying that there was a global conspiracy if the Russians were involved?" I'm like, "Well, kind of, yeah. Look at the Cold War. Look at the Lend-Lease program. The Russians were allegedly the big bad wolf, and yet we were engaged in the Lend-Lease program with them. And then in modern times, look at COVID. We're on YouTube, so I can't get too much into the COVID stuff, but most of us have a certain way about how we feel about COVID. Especially, maybe you fell for it at the very beginning, but I think a lot of people now realize what was going on. I'm being cautious with my words because I'm on YouTube. But then you see how all these governments handled COVID that are supposedly our enemies, whether it's China, whether it's Russia. They handled it in very similar terms. So that to me is there is global cooperation.
Let me jump in here. The reason why they're afraid to play that card now is because it ties in directly with the Russia-Ukraine war. The Russia-Ukraine war going on now is completely a hoax as well, because it's the same Freemasons in Ukraine and the same Freemasons in Russia, and they're playing enemies right now. This is just a puppet show.
Yeah. Everything is that's why I kind of focused, at the very beginning on the Gulf of Tonkin incident, because A lot of people that follow me know that I cover a lot of stuff and I deem a lot of things fake and theatrics. The Trump assassination attempt, all these other things, I don't believe in them at all. They're fake. And we have plenty of reasons why we should be questioning these things. Uh, like I stated at the very beginning, the Gulf of Tonkin incident, completely fake and manufactured. It has been admitted. So this isn't a conspiracy theory. They admitted that they made everything up. And as a result of this lie, over 50,000 American troops died in Vietnam. 3 million Vietnamese died in a completely manufactured event known as the Gulf of Tonkin. So anyone having issues, well, why would they fake this? Why would they fake that? They fake things all the time to push agendas.
Also, I want to say, once the government admits to something, it no longer becomes conspiracy theory, but it becomes conspiracy fact, right?
Yeah.
Once they admit, well, we did kind of say some little lies there about the Gulf of Tonkin, then it becomes conspiracy fact, right? And there's been 4 times where, well, more than 4, but 4 major ones are the Gulf of Tonkin, the weapons of mass destruction of Iraq, the Lavon affair, and the King David Hotel bombing, right?
We can't get, we're on YouTube, so I don't want to get too deep in there. I know where you're going with that. But I would even argue that the US-Mexican War is another one that even mainline historians will agree that it was a completely staged aggression to make it look like Mexico attacked the U.S. That way, the U.S. could get in and steal. Let's just put it the way it is: steal half of Mexican land. That's what happened. They made Mexico the aggressor when there was no need for it. The American public did not want a war, so they had to stage the event in order to make that happen. And that one, even mainline historians will get behind. So these staged events, staged narratives happened all the damn time, over and over again.
Can I share screen again? I got one more just thing to talk about here.
Yeah.
So this is just
It's on the screen right now.
so this is it's probably just a fake image, but it's just like a light you could stick on your wall, which has a transparency of the Earth. So it would be kind of like a globe-looking light bulb, I guess you could say, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this globe-looking light bulb has a transparency over it that has some cloud patterns over a certain part of Earth, and that transparency can be changed. So at the beginning of the debate, the first thing I said was I made a recantation where I said that there was some Apollo images of the Earth taken from the moon, and you have to, if you compare the timestamp. So what they had done was, in the studio set where they were filming this thing, they had tried to calculate the angle of the Earth and the angle of the moon at that particular time, so that it would look like you actually seeing the Earth up there. And they had even calculated down to the point where, like, this would be the continent you could see at that time, and they had even different transparencies where the cloud patterns would be different, and they could say even the clouds are changing over time. But it's so simple as that. All you have to do is just change the transparency, and you can have different cloud patterns, different continents. You can have whatever you want, So the theory that this couldn't have been faked because you can see the Earth and the Earth is rotated, this is totally wrong. It's just different transparencies being moved over a light source that looks like the Earth.
Yeah. Good point. Oh, I think I think Dr. Raza will rejoin us. I think it was almost time for him to leave though. He's in China and it is evening here on a Saturday night in Florida, and it is Sunday morning for him. So I know he was busy, but he boned out. See if I'll give him a second, see if he comes back. Maybe his internet cut out. Maybe he was dropping too much goddamn truth bombs. Let's see. Again, 10 p.m. There we go. Here's Dr. Raza. There you are, Dr. Raza.
Sorry about that.
You're good, man. I thought you had to run and you didn't even say bye. I was ready to cry, man. Yeah,
Well,
man.
I do kind of need to get going. That was just accident. I accidentally closed it.
No, I got you, man. So,
there is one other. I had another smoking gun, but somehow my folder got deleted. So we might have to save that one for the next time.
yeah, we could do a part 3. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There is one other thing I wanted to share regarding my own personal story.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have brought this. This is something that this is something we talked about before. But okay, there was a clip from the Chang'e 6 mission. We talked about this before. So here in China, just we launched this Chang'e 6, which was the first robotic craft to bring moon rocks from the far side of the moon. Right? And during that liftoff, during the day of the Chang'e 6 liftoff, there was a Chinese administrator who made the quote that there's many people who doubt whether the Apollo missions were real. So why would a Chinese official be saying that many people doubt the Apollo missions were real? And his name is Yang Yuguan. And he's the administrator from the International Astronautical Federation, IAF. So I need to. So I know Yang Yuguang, because China is once you meet people in space agencies, you meet all of them, So I've met Yang Yuguang before, and I asked him, I said, how can you get away with saying this on public TV, saying that many people doubt the Apollo missions? And it's kind of it's a way to step up political pressure on NASA, because NASA agreed to admit they faked the Apollo missions, and China is just waiting for them. So they're stepping up pressure now. Now, the NASA apologists, ever since I pointed this out, the NASA apologists came for a rebuttal to me. They said, oh, Dr. Russell is wrong. He's Yang Yuguang, in the later part of the interview, said that the moon landings were real. So I need to respond to this rebuttal, okay? Do I need to play this clip again? I think maybe I should, because many people maybe don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's refresh. Let's jog our memories.
All right. Let me share screen. Hopefully. Okay. Great. Let me know when you got it.
It's on the screen right now.
Okay, I'm going to play it. You can just listen.
All right, now let's hear some more analysis from my guest here in the studio, Professor Yang Guang from the Space Transportation Committee at the IAF.
You know that you asked which is the most dangerous or risky part. From my view of a technician.
Wait a minute. Let me kind of translate what he's saying because his English is not very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what the hell is he talking about right now?
He's he's one of the few people who can actually speak English. So, they chose him specifically for that because he's one of the people that has good English,
Damn.
Anyway, what he's saying is that the most risky part of this mission will be the lunar orbit rendezvous. Okay? The most risky. So what it means to say is when you have two ships meeting in the lunar orbit, and they're going to transfer the rocks from one ship to another ship, it's very difficult to align the ships so they can dock properly. And if anything can go wrong, the two ships crash or whatever, it's the most risky part of the whole mission, right? So that's what he's talking about. Let's keep playing.
The most important or the most risky part will be the lunar orbit rendezvous, which means that the two spacecraft rendezvous and dock together in the circumlunar orbit. You know that many people doubt about whether the Apollo program is true or not.
Okay, that was the one. That was the line. Many people doubt about whether the Apollo program was true or not. The exact words, okay? Why would he be saying that on the launch of China's first mission to do something which NASA has never done? Right? NASA has never brought moon rocks back from the far side of the moon. So this was China's first chance to do better, to do one up on NASA. And during the launch of the mission, he announced that many people have doubts about whether the Apollo missions were true or not. And then let's listen to his second quote.
One thing is that, that in 1960 or 1960, it's almost
That's about half a century
unbelievable
ago.
that the human being can conduct a docking in the cislunar orbit.
So he says that one thing is for sure, it's almost unbelievable. He's giving his own personal opinion here, okay? His own personal opinion is that it's almost unbelievable to me that these two ships could have docked in the 1960s, So first he makes a statement. Many people doubt. He's pointing at other people. Many people doubt it was true or not. Personally, I think it's almost unbelievable that those two ships could have docked. so it's pretty clear here that China is putting pressure on NASA to hurry up and admit. And I just want to.
Well, someone had a question for you. Is it true that the CM pilot couldn't communicate with the two astronauts before redocking? I need clarification.
Well, the official story is that they could, but there was no docking anyway. Nothing. The what really happened the entire time was that they went up. The command module remained in low Earth orbit the entire time, and the rest of this SIVB went and orbited the moon. So there was no dockings or anything like that. They just remained in orbit for the entire period where they claimed to be going to the moon, and then they just came back to Earth. So let me just share one last little thing about coming back to the Chinese issue, if I can. Okay, this is. Let me know when you.
All right, it's up on the screen.
Okay, so the debunkers, the apologists who think I'm lying here, and they say that the official debunk for my claim that China just blew the whistle on the Apollo missions, they say, well, in the later part of the video, he says the moon landings were real. So let me address that claim. So what happened was, in the year 2014, astronauts met in Beijing. I'm presenting the news article here. So there was a big conference in Beijing where there was 93 astronauts from 18 countries, and 3 of them were Buzz Aldrin, Alexei Leonov, and Valentina Tereshkova. All right, so let me just, in case you don't know, Buzz Aldrin, everybody knows Buzz Aldrin, and Alexei Leonov was the Russian who supposedly made the first spacewalk. He was supposedly in low Earth orbit, and he opened the door and he climbed out the door of his ship. And Valentina Tereshkova was supposedly the first woman ever in space. Now, the thing is this, these 3 astronauts, Buzz Aldrin, Alexei Leonov, and Valentina Tereshkova, came to Beijing in the year 2014. And when they came to Beijing, they told us here at the Chinese space mission that all 3 of them are going to admit that they faked their missions. Means not only were the Apollo missions faked, but Alexei Leonov's first human spacewalk was also faked. And Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman to go to space, was also faked. So this comes directly back to the question of would the Russians have blown the whistle? That whole debate is going to be dead soon because NASA themselves are going to admit it, and Russia will admit as well that they were both colluding to fake these things. And so when the Chinese, the scientist, said on the launch of Chang'e 6 that he in the interview, his exact words were saying, Buzz Aldrin, I know him. He was the first, he was the second man to walk on the moon. So now the reason why he said because he's just quoting this article. This article says Alexei Leonov, the first person to walk in space, Valentina Tereshkova, the first female astronaut, and Buzz Aldrin, the second person to land on the moon. So he's just quoting this article. So this is the official Chinese story, is that China is willing to say Buzz Aldrin was the second man on the moon, even though they know it's a false statement. And they're willing to make that kind of a lie for them because of the exchange of technology. But China's tactics here is making friends with the enemy. So keeping friends with America, keeping friends with NASA, keeping the technology exchange going, but at the same time, kind of blowing the whistle on them. Because he said on the interview, many people doubt whether the Apollo missions were true or not. So he's kind of blowing the whistle on them because he knows it's a hoax. And Buzz Aldrin himself came here and told us that he's going to admit it was a hoax in the future. So this is the whole thing is going to get exposed very soon. And the fact that NASA and the Russians were colluding to hoax together is also going to be exposed very soon.
Well, you're more optimistic than I am. I don't.
Well,
I'm the type. I'll see it when it happens. I'll believe it when it happens. I don't trust any government. I don't care if it's the Americans, the Chinese, the Russians. They all lie. We are their subjects, and we are their slaves, monetary slaves.
I'm certainly not telling you to hold your breath for this event because who knows when it will ever happen. But all I can say is that NASA did agree to confess. And I want to tell you exactly, to clarify the story here, okay? What happened was, in September of 1982, China launched their own rocket called the Long March 2C. The Long March 2C was a rocket completely built by China. They had no help from anybody. And they launched their second of this on August 1983. So the second of this Long March 2C rocket was launched, and it was a successful mission. So what happened was, at that time, NASA looked at China and said, wow, you guys did a really good job on your own. You launched successfully this Long March 2C, which is the most powerful rocket you guys have ever built. So what happened after that in 1983, NASA said, we are going to start sharing technology with you. Because you did such a good job on your own, we're going to start sharing technology with you. So what happened was, on December of 1983, China was allowed to join the Outer Space Treaty. So if you go to like Wikipedia and you look Outer Space Treaty, you can see that China joined on December of 1983. So this was when NASA agreed to start sharing technology with China. So NASA helped China upgrade their rocket, and China produced the first of the Long March 3 series. And the Long March 3 series was the first Chinese rocket made with the help from America. And that first Long March 3 was launched on April of 1984. So the plans had been in place between 1983 and 1984 for America to start transferring technology to China. And at that exact time, that was the meeting where NASA told China, says, look, we are going to start sharing technology with you, but we want you to keep a lid on the Apollo missions for now. We promise to come clean in the future, but for now, will you please keep clean about the fact that we faked the Apollo missions? And the exact date of this event, NASA telling this to China, was in the year 1983, when just before they started getting permission to join the Outer Space Treaty of the UN. So I just had to set the record straight because I've told parts of this story before, but now I'm telling you the full details of it.
I gotcha. All right. So, Dr. Raza, I do have your YouTube link for the moon landing hoax, as well as your 0 Point Institute. Is there any other place you want people to check you out?
I just got a super interesting message today on Facebook, and one of the members of our Facebook group said he had somehow contacted the people who had hijacked our old Facebook group. So our old Facebook group had 42,000 members, and like somebody hijacked it away from us. I could explain that story, how they hijacked it, but basically they took over role of admin and they kicked out all the other admins. And
you
then
had to start from scratch, essentially.
Right. One of the members of our new group somehow got in contact with one of the guys who hijacked our old group away. And he actually admitted to the fact that he paid money for that group to be hijacked and passed to his command. He admitted that he actually paid for that. And it might even be possible he's trying to blackmail us. He's giving us a price, saying you might be able to get your group back if you pay us. So I just got this news today, just before this interview. I was like, wow, that would be interesting.
Don't
How much
negotiate
do you want
with
for...
terrorists.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm kind of, everything we do, our Facebook groups, our YouTube pages are all blacklisted, so I don't really.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
the
really.
thing.
Yeah.
Getting shadow banned, and it's tough. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you did start another one though, right? It's the Apollo moon hoax, right?
Right. So I have a YouTube channel and I have a Facebook group, but no, it's hardly anybody knows about it. It's hard to find it,
Yeah. Well, I do have those 2 links that I've always put on. So if anyone is interested, check them out. And then I also have our Smoking Guns Part 1 as well for anyone interested. That was a lot of fun, and Mr. Bob Williams did a killer job on that video edit as well. So, Dr. Raza, that was awesome. Yeah, let's see if we can get a few more, and then we'll do a Smoking Guns 3 if need be. And we also need to do our part 2 of the Cold War hoax. Yeah, so we'll have to get together and figure that one out for sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Raza. That was a lot of fun. And until next time, and I want to remind everyone, if you want to watch more show, we'll be doing UFC 10 p.m. tonight, Eastern, sometime early morning in the UK. And then tomorrow, Sunday, John Brissom on the Trump Epstein emails. So that should be a banger of a show as well. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Much love, hugs, and kisses.
Curious what Wheezy thinks, because Wheezy usually comes at something, and I mean that with all due respect, Wheezy, because you usually are pretty good at coming at it from an angle that you have no political, leanings one way or the other, so you're a little bit more able to come at this from different angles.
And it was in one of those areas a couple of blocks away from the World Trade Center site, apparently where that passport was found. The